Hi, welcome to another video on the Target Individual program, the Target Individual experience. Let me turn off my webcam. For some reason, my webcam, the video from it is very choppy. Uh, don't really know what's going on. It was fine, and then a few months ago, it started uh, behaving in this manner. But of course, you know, as a TI, nothing is coincidental. Um, Something is always purposely done in order to disrupt, deny, destroy anything that we use to expose, um, this program, right? So there's a few things that's happening. Um, I had registered for college, um, changed my major from what it was, from graphic arts to more of the technical aspect, um, computer-based academic, and there's a lot that I had to go through. From them having me running around trying to get things that I didn't need, to not telling me about certain things until I just so happened to check my email and saw that, hey, I need this, I need that, and so forth. And so I've been running around the past 3 days trying to take care of things, um, just to get things situated. And I think I had to apply for financial aid, and that's something that I need to do. I did apply for one. I got to apply for another one, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. They make it difficult for you, right? Even though I let them know that, hey, I am on disability, um, and I have a disability, and they make an effort to ignore until you repeat it over and over. Then all of a sudden they want to give you some attention, right? But that's just the nature of it in this program. Like I said, anything that you try to do that's positive, they will try to negate. They will try to prevent you. If they can't get you to prevent yourself from doing what you want to do to move forward, uh, they will do it in ways that are very manipulative, very under the radar, until you bring it to the attention of others, and then they, you know, start to act a little bit better. And you'll see in the video I show you that, because they've been trying to send me subliminal messages about not going to college, not signing up for classes. But when I did all those things, you'll see the retaliation in which they're going to send the police to my college as I was exiting to try and intimidate me, right? And I'm going to show this. And I'm going to show also, prior leading up to that, again, a heavy police presence wherever I go. And, that's just the nature of being a targeted individual, right? When you're fighting back, when you're trying to move forward, you're trying to, even though you're still being targeted, but you're trying to, you know, move forward with your life, which they don't want. This is the type of things that they'll do, and the type of manipulation and intimidation tactics that they will use to target you, right? Um, okay, so let me begin. So I um, was started reading this book by uh, Dr. Jose Delgado. He was a government scientist who experimented on human beings in terms of trying to control the human mind. And he was very successful. He started out with animals, monkeys. There's a famous video of him stopping a bull. right? So the bull's in the arena charging a matador, and with the press of a button, he was able to stop the bull while the bull was charging, right? And the bull immediately stopped and you know stopped charging, right? So here's a short video. It's 5 minutes and 6 seconds from the Science Channel on YouTube that talks about Dr. Jose Delgado and his experimentation. Right? Let me restart this just in case the volume uh, doesn't appear or show up on the video that I'm making. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So that video, right, as you see in the end, as you can hear in the end, about the remote mind control. Okay, and this is key, and that's why I keep saying as TIs, you have to research a lot of this stuff, um, to really understand what's being done. Now, in 1969, Dr. Jose Delgado published this book. Okay, this book, the it's right here. It's called Jose M. R. Delgado, MD, Physical Control of the Mind. Now remember, this is in 1969. This guy has been experimenting with controlling human behavior using radio waves for a long time. Okay? This is in conjunction with the CIA MK Ultra mind control program. And you see in some videos you'll see on YouTube where he hooks up electrode into the brain of monkeys, electrode into the brain of a bull, and able to stop the bull on command just by pressing the button on a remote. Well, the purpose of remote neural monitoring, that microchip, it is the modern day electrode that was placed into the brains of humans and animals back in the 60s. Okay? Now, technology has advanced to the point where a tiny microchip is implanted into the brain, and that microchip, okay, is able to send and receive signals. Okay. Also, you got to look at within the past 30 years, the CIA, the Department of Defense, have been basically mapping the brain, basically registering every electrical impulses that fires off in the brain and are able to identify what each of these electrical pulses mean. Okay, so we're talking about the decoding, right? So with the brain mapping is also about the decoding of the brain function through its electrical signals. Okay, then you talk about the remote viewing, in which again through our visual cortex, that microchip is able to interpret what we see and what we hear. All right, so I just want you guys to understand this. That is what remote neural monitoring is all about, right? So hence when we as TI talk about remote neural monitoring, it's because we have been implanted with a microchip and they're able to read our thoughts, they're able to see what we see. And people may say, oh, you guys are crazy, but I'm just showing you right now that, even in the most crudest form in the 1960s, they were able to control human emotion, human bodily function. Okay, so you can get this book. You don't got to buy it, and I don't think anybody should be able to buy this book and support this maniac. But you can get the PDF of the book free online, and you guys can read it yourself. Okay, so listen to what he says in part 3 of Experimental Control of Brain Function in Behaving Subjects. Okay, let's go to that page. Here we go. Part 3, Experimental Control of Brain Function in Behaving Subjects. In our present technological environment, I remember this was in the 1960s, right? We are used to the idea that machine can be controlled from a distance by means of radio signal. The doors of a garage can be opened or closed by pushing a button in our car. The channels and volume of a television set can be adjusted by pressing the corresponding knob of a small telecommand instrument without moving from a comfortable armchair. And even orbiting capsule can now be directed from tracking stations on Earth. These accomplishments should familiarize us with the idea that we may also control the biological function of living organisms from a distance. Cats, monkeys, or human beings can be induced to flex a limb, to reject food, or to feel emotional excitement under the influence of electrical impulses reaching the depth of their brains through radio waves purposefully sent by an investigator. The reality has introduced a variety of scientific and physiological questions, and to understand the significance, potentials, and limitations of brain control, it is convenient to review briefly the basis of normal behavioral activity and the methodology for its possible artificial modification, and then to consider some representative examples of electrical control of behavior in both animals and humans. Okay, so again, I want you guys to understand this. So when I talk about also silent sound spectrum, in which that it is based on the microwave radio wave frequency spectrum, and basically again through each specific frequency they can transfer their thoughts in terms of sending you a message into your brain, right? And the thing is, unlike V2K, silent sound spectrum, you're not hearing another person's voice, you're not hearing a female voice, a male voice that are different sounding. You are hearing your own inner thought, right? So if they send a signal or they send you a message to do something bad and you do it, you're going to get the blame because guess what? It is within your inner thought that you are following through on that, not knowing that that thought have been artificially introduced into your mind. And that's the danger. And this is what they do. This is the technology being used today on many individuals, thousands of people, possibly millions of people, but it's on a different scale as opposed to how it's being used on us as targeted individuals, right? And so we have to understand this. And so it is important that we do research on these things, that we become knowledgeable, because they will call us crazy for speaking about stuff like this, for exposing it. They will say that no, these things don't exist and it's impossible. So we have to show them that it is impossible. That 50, 60 years ago, they were doing this. Now, you know, in its crudest form, right? But imagine the advancement that they have made, right? Because even in the early 2000s, actually as far as the mid 90s or early 90s, they were doing this stuff. And if you read Mark Rich, The Hidden Evil, The Covert Elite, the Financial Elite, Covert Plan to Control Humanity. I'm not sure if that's the correct name of the book, but he talks about this, which I'm going to uh, get to that, right? On top of that, couple that with a psychological campaign, right? Couple that with Jet Set Zoom, right? And what you have is a powerful program and a powerful tool in which to destroy a person's life from the inside, from within that person, okay? Without any evidence that it was an external factor that caused the destruction, that caused the people, that person to behave in the way that they behave. So I talked about Dark NLP and on Dandelion Jones, and he talks about that particular NLP, Dark NLP, how it is used to destroy a person's life, right? By conditioning them negatively, using anchors and triggers, right? And then let that person, basically destroy their own life, right? And that person not knowing what has been done to them, and the people around that person, family members, friends, not knowing what has been done to that individual. So when I talk about psychological conditioning, right, it's something that we have to pay special attention to. But we cannot forget that there are technologies out there that can do psychological conditioning within our mind, that can actually put thoughts, ideas into our minds, all right, that can control us from a distance, okay? But, you know, uh, people tend not to believe what we say. And so we have to do research and give them the evidence to show that, yeah, it's, if you don't believe us or believe me, that's fine. But look at the evidence. You know, you should know that, at least know that it is possible. Okay? Very well possible. Okay? All right, so let's go to The Hidden Evil. Okay? And this is Mark Rich. And let me go to the title, right? The Hidden Evil, the Financial Elite's Covert War Against the Civilian Population. Okay? So, as a target individual, we all would like to know why we're in this program, why this is being done to us, right? And here are some of the reasons in which Mark Rich uh, believe. What are some of the reasons, right? Recruitment, and this is reasons it exists and potential targets. Recruitment. Some people are allegedly targeted to recruit them as informant after they have been broken. Both the East German Stasi and the CIA would use constant harassment campaign on people they wanted to use as informants, or people knew they couldn't recruit and wanted to destroy. Political movement. Although whistleblowers, activists, and others are being attacked, The scope of this worldwide problem is too big to be limited to a parallel justice system. Hold on a sec. I got kids running around. Okay, so let me read this. Although whistleblowers, activists, and others are being attacked, the scope of this worldwide problem is too big for it to be limited to a parallel justice system. As previously illustrated, there is probably a political agenda attached to what he's calling the hidden evil, right? It has moved beyond experimentation and is being widely used on civilian population in all NATO countries. Now, some of it is still experimentation because they still have to, you know, update the technology, right? But the tactics, the reasons are all the same. Okay, because of the number of people being attacked, there must be people on the local level charged with the task of identifying those to be attacked. McKinney has found that corporate America is one medium for detecting TIs. Since about 1990, she has seen many instances of people being identified in the workplace. It seems there are people in communities and businesses who identify those to be put under surveillance and attacked. This is very similar to what unfolded in East Germany, where workplace, schools, and hospitals were complicit in surveillance operation and filled with informants. What kind of individuals are being singled out for attack? They are said to be highly intelligent nonconformists spanning a wide range of professions. Some of them appear to be what you might call supernatural. There are far more women being attacked than men. Others that have been targeted include those who have reported a high crime, landowners targeted by government and industries for land seizures, inventors awaiting a large payoff, the mentally disabled, those who have arguments with neighbors who have connection, those awaiting a large insurance claim, convenient targets of opportunity, those with special talents or abilities, stalking, stalkers themselves who act in unacceptable ways, those who are perceived as vulnerable or weak, those opposing any element of the New World Order. The pattern that is unfolding indicates that many targets are emotionally and spiritually well developed, self confident, independent, incorruptible, free thinking, autistic people who don't need the approval of others. There are people who don't need to be part of a group to feel secure. The financial elite throughout history have consistently hated and feared these individuals. Those who are given the authority to identify people to be targeted are evidently a reflection of their military industrial handlers, which we've established as being greedy, deceitful, psychopathic, and cowardly. Therefore, envy, jealousy, and fear may play a significant role in the selection of targeted individuals. Eugenics. For some reason, there are considerably more women targeted than men. Why would women be targeted at a much higher percentage than men? This is another question we may never have the answer for. But one possible answer is that the financial elite has sponsored eugenics projects worldwide for decades. Removing fertile females from the population is a standard eugenic procedure. Families such as DuPont, Harriman, Carnegie, and Rockefeller have funded projects for depopulation control. The Rockefeller and Harrimans would spend over 11 million on a eugenics laboratory in Cold Spring Harbor on Long Island, New York, as far back as 1910. Eugenics efforts continue to this day, although they are concealed. Entertainment torture. The last reason may be very difficult for some people to accept because it is terrifying. They appear to be picking people out of communities and torturing them because they find it enjoyable. This will be easier to understand when we explore such and such and blah blah blah. So we're not going to get into the satanic stuff and all that. Okay, intentions and effect. The objective is to force the targeted person to commit suicide and or act of violence so they become incarcerated on a condition that can be plausibly denied by the government. Other projects appear to be to induce homelessness brought about by financial ruin and reduce the quality of life so much that the person suffers a nervous breakdown. The advanced surveillance technology and directed energy weapons also serve the purpose of isolating the person from their immediate family. McKinney mentioned that the agencies carrying out these attacks demand a perverted sense of loyalty from the individual they are attacking. In other words, it is the characteristic behavior of the psychopath who must degrade the individual under attack. More on this will be covered in the chapter, The Psychopathic Influence. Moving to a completely new location will not stop this. All normal escape mechanisms have been removed in all of the NATO countries. Your protocol, commented McKinney, follows you wherever you go, so it's a waste of time. Now, again, recently, even today, they were sending me subliminal message about moving and, to get away from my targeted. But again, this is what they do to have you going from place to place, okay, building up this history, a record of uh, not being stable, right? And so this is the kind of thing that they will do. Okay, symptoms and consequences. Because mobbing and group stalking are quite similar, targeted individuals may experience mobbing symptoms and carry out these acts: nervous breakdown, depression, panic attacks, heart attacks, other severe illness, suicide, violence directed by third parties, going postal, uncontrollable acting out, persistent anxiety, fatalistic outlook on life, frequent or long sick leave at work, isolation. According to Moret, Munzer, and McKinney, other reported symptoms and situations are forced onto medication for anxiety, depression, imprisonment, forced into mental hospital, homelessness, framing, stage accidents, death. Those under attack are experiencing an almost unbelievable amount of trauma. As a comparison, the Stasi psychological attacks against its citizens' targets were said to be more painful than physical torture. According to McKinney, most of those under attack are completely unaware of it. Rather, they're visiting the doctors for trauma that was deliberately inflicted and receiving psychiatric medication for non-existent mental disorder. In addition to the psychological harassment, targeted individuals also experience deteriorating physical health, which often includes severe gastrointestinal conditions. Those being attacked experience pain all over the body. Organs such as the brains, testicles, heart, and digestive tract are attacked. On the skin, they feel burns, shocks, stings, and the sensation of thousands of pins. These attacks often leave no visible evidence. Some other due symptoms include memory loss, dizziness, headaches, extreme fatigue, sleep deprivation, and disruption. Okay, so I got a lot of stuff. Also, jolts and jerks to muscle, the equivalent of being shot, abdominal pain, nausea, increase in core body temperature, mental confusion, inability to concentrate, stings, burning sensation, heart attacks, strokes, aneurysm, cancer. If you see a mental health profession as a result of this covert violence, you may be diagnosed with a mental disorder. People with mental disorder are stereotypically seen as incompetent and violent. This stigma will probably follow you for the rest of your life. And that is without a doubt, yes, it will. McKinney offered, frankly, I strongly recommend that you keep your faculty together and avoid going to see a psychiatrist and psychologist because the pattern that is evolving is that they are highly complicit in these operations. Reportedly, the attack continued inside hospitals and prisons. Okay, and so that's true. Let me tell you, my psychiatrist, I stopped seeing him after he tells me that there was no such thing as coercive persuasion, that there's no such thing. And right then, I knew that he was lying, because when I went to the American Psychiatric uh, uh, Association, the APA, on their website in 1978, I believe, they had the term coercive persuasion there and the definition. And what they have done since I've found that is that they have removed it from their website. At least that's what other targeted individuals that went to the link are telling me. And I have this on video. You can go to, I don't remember which video it was. You can go to my video. I have it there. I showed it. And all of a sudden, it has been removed from the APA website, right? You got to think about that, okay? All right. So then on top of that, let's talk about the synthetic telepathy and early mind wars, Richard Allen Miller, right? And what he's seen here. And again, I think I've read some of this, right? But you're talking about frequencies in which they're able to uh, direct messages, control your emotions, and this is what's been happening to me and Pam over the years. You know, and then she's telling me that I'm always moody. I said it's not meaning that she's always moody, not me. But for example, I've noticed certain things like whenever we're out, there are particular instances where if there's a large crowd of people that's around, she'll look at me and she'll tell me to give me a kiss. And then when we're in the house or we're out when there's not a lot of people, she won't do that, right? And we're in the house, if I try to give her a kiss, she seems like she's turned off. But again, as a TI, this is what they do to control the people around you and to destroy your relationships, right? Okay. So here is this was interesting what he says here. Okay, he says my work at the time was involved in the AI database for paranormal references, Project Paraphile. The second paper was also presented at the Omniverse Symposium, California State College at Simona, and it was entitled Holographic Concept of Reality. And what he said is that his paper got labeled as classified. Okay, he said 1 week after the delivery of the paper, 4 men came to my place of business, 2 in suits and 2 in full army dress. The 2 suits held me under close arrest, while the other 2 army personnel went through my files, pulling anything related to embryonic holography. The paper was written from old notes and memories, but it was not the same. What got the paper paper classified top secret for almost 20 years was that it was critical for the use of Alan Frey's study and its possible application to mind control. Okay, and again, it's important that we understand this stuff, right? Frey found that human subject response to 1310 megahertz and 2980 megahertz microwave, an average power density of 0.4 to 2 millimeter wave centimeter square, perceive auditory sensation described as buzzing or knocking sound. The sensation occurred instantaneously at average incident power densities, well below the necessary for known biological damage, and appear to originate from within or near the back of the head. Okay, and it talks about the pulse microwave technology, which I'm not going to go into. Again, you can find this PDF online. Just Google Send Telepathy. That's SYNTELEPATHY.PDF. Okay, and again, this is in the 70s. Okay, they were doing this stuff. Again, this is the early to mid 70s. I mean, it's incredible. Okay, so here he says today. He says today the ability to remotely transmit microwave voices inside a target's head is known inside the Pentagon as synthetic telepathy. According to Dr. Robert Becker, synthetic telepathy has application in covert operations designed to drive a target crazy with voices or deliver undetectable instruction to a program assassin. Right? Okay. So, there's a lot of stuff there that we have to read, research, understand what's happening and what's going on. Okay. So let me go to the videos because I know a lot of you guys want to see the videos, stuff like that. And so I'm going to go through some stuff here that I just read also, and that you guys are going to see. All right. So let's see here. Let's to the video here. I haven't reviewed this one as yet. Um, so I think you see that I turned the phone to this guy because I think I was getting on the block. He saw me come across the street, walked across the street. Act like he's walking a dog, but I see him looking inside these houses, right, or looking at the windows. Okay. All right. Okay. So, like I said, right, as I drove on the block, I saw him walked across the street. Okay, and you'll see, where is it? All right, and as he's walking across the street, he looks at me and started looking up at the house's windows and stuff like that. Kept looking back at me, to get my attention. And as he got across the street, I started recording. And so, again, he's acting as if he's walking his dog. But, his intention is to target me, right, with these hand signals or these subliminal messages. Okay, let's see if he comes back into the. All right, nope, come back. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next video. All right. All right, so here I am. Here I am. I believe I was heading home that day. And again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay, yeah, I was actually taking the car to the mechanic. I believe that was a Saturday. Okay, let's go here. Not too far. Yeah, so Saturday, and I remember this guy right here. Okay, and he's standing there. Then he takes out his phone. See, this is what they do. Then they're all working in tandem, right? So see the two guys in the yellow and red shirt. She walks with the water bottle, and you see him takes his phone out, staring at it. Let's go back because I want you guys to get the full idea. Okay, so you'll see the two guys in the one in the yellow shirt, one in the red shirt. Okay, Now watch what happens. Okay, now as soon as this woman walks across the street, she has a water bottle in her hand. And from time to time, they'll target you with the water bottles. They'll put you through a fixation drill just so that um, you can be conditioned to it. Okay. So he looks at his phone, puts it down, he looks at it again. After he looked at her, she turned to look at the woman crossing the street with the water bottle in her hand. Okay, he looking at me, put it down, drive off. Now he walks off. Right? And there he goes again. Okay? So you see how they work in tandem with one another. Okay? And I had to divert because they were having a block party. Okay. So this JEA in the license plate, I've talked about this in my previous videos. You know, when they stopped using the number 32 to try and trigger me, they started using this license plate with the JEA, right? And it's always JEA at as the first three uh, letters in the license plate. Okay, so I'm glad to be able to get this because even on my block, there have been a lot of vehicle parking there now with the JEA, and I'm gonna try to record it. Even though like I said, I tend to ignore that stuff because really and truly, I recognize the conditioning, and so once I start recognizing it, you know, I tend to, um, you know, reverse engineer their conditioning so that it doesn't have any effect on me. But I still recognize it because of the frequency in which I see it. Okay. Okay. All right. So this was during the week, and actually this was Saturday. This was Saturday after I took the car to the mechanic, and I went home and I had to go see my neurologist. So I didn't take the car. I took the train because the car obviously was in the at the mechanic. Okay, and here I am again, and you'll see, the yellow and red theme, right? So, but this time you'll see guy with the yellow shirt shows up walking in front of me, and this is right where my neurologist, the doctor's office, is at, and you hear the sirens. Okay, you see the police vehicle parked up here, lights flashing. Okay, and this is a Saturday now. It's a Saturday afternoon, and again, recently since they've been uh, using a lot of police. Okay, and like I said, when I start seeing a lot of police presence wherever I go, I'm being targeted by the members of the NYPD heavily. Right now, also pay attention to the girl that's walking across the street with the synchronization. Right, see, she stops over here, right, and she slows down. Okay, and as I cross, you'll see how slow she's walking. Then she stops right there, looks at the inspection sticker of the car, of the vehicle. What you guys didn't see is her sticking her finger in her ear, right? Her uh, left hand, you know, sticking her finger in her ear. Okay. Also, when I left Actually, also while I was at the neurologist, and because I had to go see him, because I also had to take another MRI with contrast. Uh, they started targeting me heavily at the doctor's office. Now, this doctor office that I go to is on Clarendon Road here in Brooklyn and 21st Street. Okay, not 21st, sorry, between 28 and 29. And the staff there target me all the time. It's all medicals, all city medical PC, right? And I get targeted there all the time by the staff. Okay, now the neurologist started targeting me heavily, and we're talking about. I said to him, that I also suffer short-term memory loss. And you know what they do when you tell them that? They'll give you 3 words, and they'll come back 2 minutes later, and you repeat it to them, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, short-term memory is fine." No, it's not. Because if you come back 10 minutes later, I won't recall what those 3 words, right? But coming back 2 minutes later, yeah, I recall it, but that's not a proper gauge of having a short-term memory loss. Okay, so you come back 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, I done forgot that those 3 words, all right? And I proved it because he had told one of his assistant to call down a prescription for me, and she was like, "Okay, I'll give you the information when you're done." And when I was done, I totally forgot. It wasn't until I get a call on Monday, and I'm like, "Oh shit, there's about the prescription." And I was like, "Oh yeah, he did tell his assistant about that." And again, so this is what I'm talking about. So also while I was there, he was trying to tell me that with my herniated disc that I should do deadlift. This is the neurologist that's telling me this. Okay, that I should. No, I cannot bend forward freestanding, for to do deadlifts. Okay, I would literally hurt my back even more. Okay, and this is the purpose of why he's telling me to do deadlifts, right? Because they figure they have me under the influence in terms of with the mind control, that I'm going to take his word, being that he's a professional, he's a neurologist. Again, he's not a chiropractor, because I'm sure if I go to a chiropractor with my back issue, he'll tell me no, deadlift is not the thing to do. And personally, from my own experience, I notice. Firstly, because when I bend over, my back hurts. Okay, so when I bend over, I have to lean on something. Sometimes I'll bend over and pick up something off the floor, and then my back hurts as I straighten back up. So I try to bend with my knee 95% of the times. I'm bending with my knee. There are times when, I may forget to bend with my knee, and it happens, you know, that my back hurts, me have to take a muscle relaxer or what have you. But for him to recommend to me to do deadlifts with a herniated disc with 2 pinch nerve, and we all know that because my spine is compressed and it's sitting on the nerve is the reason why they call it a pinch nerve, right? So why would I want to compress my spine even more by doing deadlifts, right? Doesn't make any sense. And at this point, I said, you know what? I need to see another neurologist, because he has been compromised to the point where he's giving me advice in which will cause more injury to my herniated disc, to my injured back, right? And so maybe that's their purpose. They probably don't want me back in that facility anymore, so they'll do shit like that. And this is what they do, okay? And this is how they chase TIs away from their doctors and stuff like that, because they all been compromised. And once we start letting people know, you know, uh, the people who engage in our targeting, they retaliate, right? So again, it's expected, but that's what they do, right? And so now I had to go pick up the car, and again, as I'm driving on my way home, see the police vehicles. Okay, And then you see the Jewish guy here, and you see this lady here, both doing hand signals. You'll see as I approach the intersection, he's tugging on his ears, he's pulling his ears. And you see he's looking directly at me now. He's across the street, okay? And now you'll see he turns, and there's a lot of Hispanic women in my targeting recently too. So here's a Hispanic woman over here. You know, she's doing the hand signal, okay? And they're both working in tandem. And guess what she has on? She has a yellow bandana over her head. Now you see the guy in the laundromat with the red shirt on. When I talk about yellow and red being the two colors that I've been using primarily, right? Okay. And now all of a sudden you'll see this vehicle. Now this vehicle is usually parked on my block at a house. It's a Jewish man that owns this vehicle. I guess you know that's his business, heating and plumbing. And recently he changed his license plate. At least I think, because I've never seen the number 32 in his license plate before. But now the number shows up on his license plate. Okay, so again you'll see here. Let's go back here. See this guy again using Hispanic women. He starts to move once the Hispanic woman walk by. Then he walks off. Okay, let's go to the next video. All right, so that very same day, it's a Saturday, uh, Pam went to a barbecue with the kids to one of her co-workers' uh, home, and she called me and she was like, "Hey, can you come pick us up?" So I was like, "Okay, fine," you know. So I get there, and of course they have to have a perpetrator right at the entrance or the sidewalk where you see what he starts touching his beard, touching himself. Okay, and see what they do. The hand signals. See, he brings his hands down to where his crotch is at. Didn't quite grab it, but he put his hands over it, and you'll see he will grab it. Watch. See, he starts touching himself. You see me zoom and he turns around. Too late, bro. I already got you on video. Now she's looking directly in the building in which Pam will be coming out of. Okay? He keeps looking at me. Now watch, see that? Because he sees Pam and the kids coming down, and now he grabs his crotch. Okay, let's go back. You'll see. See, he looks right there, right there. See that? Grabbing his crotch as he turns, as Pam and the kids are coming down. Okay, and then he puts his hands in his pocket, takes his phone out. You know he's not calling anybody. Watch this. Do it again. He takes his phone out. He's not talking though, right? He looks at me, looks at me. Yeah, he's not talking. So I wonder he's talking to, or trying to act like he's talking to somebody, because his mouth not moving. Okay, so here comes Pam and the kids. Okay, so again, people, this is the shit that they do, and I showed you many videos with these civilian perpetrators grabbing their crotch. Okay, and so now this is Monday. I had went to the store, and I was coming back, and actually, was I? No, I was at the car, I think. And then you see the homeless guy. That's him right here. Yeah, I think I was. I think I was at the car, and I think I had to either I had to move the car or something like that. Me and the kids were going somewhere. Can't really remember. But yeah, I talked about how to use the homeless team, and this is what they do. Just like how in videos you'll see them, you know, placing people who clearly have mental illness, talking to themselves in front of me where I'm going, coming out of the store. I'm sitting at the bus stop, waiting for Pam at the corner in the car. They'll send somebody out, place somebody there, clearly have mental issue talking to themselves. Then they'll run the homeless team, where I start to see a lot of homeless people, right? Or then they run the gay theme. Well, they'll start showing me a lot of gay men, right? But this is what they do, and this is how they do it, all right? Okay, so what you're going to see here is that I went to my school again to register, which I was able to do, and they were sending me all this subliminal message about not going to college, you know, not following through on going to college, stuff like that. And I just pushed through all this negative subliminal messages, right? So once I was able to do all of that, and then they also was trying to send me subliminal message about not saying anything about my disability, right? Because the one thing that they don't want to do, these civilian preps who they recruited, even those within academic universities, is that they don't want to cater to you, right? So the minute I brought up my disability, you know, they had this very uncomfortable, uneasy look on their faces, because now when I go there, they have to see me. I don't have to wait for hours on end just to see an academic advisor or what have you, right? And so they're mad, right? And so what they do as I was leaving with the kids is that they're going to call these three officers to come, and they're going to place themselves. They were by the security desk. As they see me, they start walking across one at a time. So you'll see the guy here with the black shirt, the khaki shorts. He started walking across first, and this was taking my phone out of my pocket to record, so I didn't get him. But then you'll see the others. As I got closer, they'll start walking across slowly, right? And I'm gonna try to pause the video to where you guys can get a good look at their faces. Okay. Okay. So you see, he starts. The second one starts walking across. This one here, he's staring at the exit sign because you remember I talk about visualization, synchronization, and sending of subliminal messages through visualization, right? So you'll see as he's walking across, he's looking at me, and as I get closer, then the third one is going to start walking across, right? So again, this is what they do, and the civilian perpetrators, they have taught them to do exactly that to me, because you'll see me do a video and you'll see these civilian perps, whether they be teenagers or adults or even children, will start walking across. As I get close to them, they will start walking across from me, right? So there he goes, right? Now you see the security guard right here, they're all in on it. You see the guy in the black, how he sticks his hands in his ears. Okay, and so now you'll see. All right, so there they go. They all start looking. All right, now they want to act all cool, like if they're talking to each other, but they're there to target me. That's what it is. They're trying to intimidate me, right? They're hoping that by their presence being there, I wouldn't show up at the school the next day. But guess what? I was back at the school the next day. Okay, so you look at them, and you gotta look at the hand signals too, because a lot of times the civilian perpetrator, they'll stand there with their arms folded like they're mad, right? So here he is doing the same thing, right? You see them there with he has his vest on over his shirt. You know, they're very slick. And then you see the other one here. And again, the reason why he's walking across, as you see his gun here, right? Now at the school, there is a policy of no weapons in the school, right? So why are these individuals here? Okay, yeah, they're police, right? But if they're on campus for whatever reason, shouldn't the campus authority know? Shouldn't the dean of the school or somebody in charge know that they're there? And why are they standing at the exit entrance, right? Again, at the time that I'm leaving, because I was being surveilled, I was being tracked, and so they know. So this is an intimidation tactic that they use. Well, he will walk across, and you'll see his side arm right there, so for me to see, and again, sending me subliminal threat, right? This is what they do. Okay, these are these police officers, right? And basically what they are, they're criminals. Okay, they're criminals. That's basically who they are. And because they have a badge and a gun, and we've seen this many times where they kill people, they plant drugs on people, they plant guns on people, right? Because that's what they are. These people are criminals, and let's call them out for what they are. Let's not act like these people are there to protect you and I from, or protect people from me. I'm not dangerous. I'm not the danger. These people are the danger. These are white supremacists within the New York City Police Department. Okay, that's what they are. Okay, so I'm gonna call them out. People don't want to call them out on that. I'm gonna call them out on this. Okay, because they are criminal, and what they are doing is criminal. Okay, but because they can arrest and charge people with a crime, right? Majority of the time, it's a crime that they facilitated, that they uh, have committed against the individual, right? So let's not pretend that these people are law enforcement officers or peace officers, because they're not. They are criminal with a badge and a gun, right? And every single day, they make decisions in which put thousands of black people in prison, right? But yet you have black people participating and working with these criminals to try to make it seem like I'm a threat. I'm not a threat, okay? Because I'm sure if you go on these people's Facebook page, whatever organization they belong to, you'll see a lot of anti-black, anti-immigrant, anti-Mexican, anti-Hispanic views, okay? Let's not make any mistake about that. Let's not draw any distinction to what they're doing and to what so-called criminals are doing. Okay? The thing is that these people get away with it because they are law enforcement. They have a gun and a badge. They can lie and get away with it. They can do whatever they want to do and get away with it. Okay? And just to let you know how deep the mind control and the brainwashing is, they'll have black people, Hispanic people, other people of color who they've demonized, they've killed, they've framed, they've set up, what have you, working along with these people. Right? Think about that for a minute. Okay? So, yeah, so they were trying to intimidate me. It wasn't going to work, wasn't going to allow it to happen. Okay? And then I get onto Pan's block as I'm crossing. I was across the street, getting ready to cross over. This ticket agent stand up across the street, where opposite from where I was going to cross over, stands there looking at me. When the light changed, he proceeded to walk right, and then he gets to the ticket uh, meter, right? Then he turns around again. They like to take out their phone, act like they're talking to someone, but they're not talking to anyone. Because he turns around, and as he sees, as I get closer, they start to walk off. Again, same thing like those police officers were doing. When they saw me approaching, they started walking off one by one. As I got closer, they start walking off one by one. And you see, he stood there, and as I got closer, now he begins to move. Right now, who is he talking to? His mouth is not moving. He's just smiling. Okay, and this is what these people do. Right. Also, why is he only showing his top teeth? Right. You see how it is purposely being done. But you see, look at his bottom lip, how it's covered his bottom teeth. Yet his top teeth is the one that's showing, right? So again, this is a new thing that they started doing to me, and just want people to understand that. Okay, so this is who he is, and they see how now he sticks his tongue out, right, as he walks past me. But again, I'm smart enough to know to turn the camera as they walk past me, because they will do stuff like that, and then I'll miss it because a lot of times I'm not turning the phone to record what it is that they're doing. So you see he's sticking his tongue out, right, as he walks past me. All right. I mean, it is ridiculous, right? That the shit that these people do. It really is. Okay. All right. Well, so I guess that's it for the video. And I was trying to make it shorter, but wasn't able to. But again, I hope I'm able to show that in this Coercive Persuasion program, what is being done, how it's being done, the use of the intimidation tactics, use of police officers to try to intimidate me, to get me to not pursue what I want to pursue, right? With the threat of being either shot or incarcerated, right? This is something that they do to me all the time, okay? And that's why I do my best to try to expose what's going on and what's being done, regardless of the cost to me. Because if I can save thousands from going through what I'm going through for what I'm going through, it was all worth it. Okay? And so we have to find, as TIs, the inner strength to come out and say, we're not going to take this anymore. We're going to expose it, and hopefully there are people out there that are watching, that are listening, that hopefully can be able to do something about what's going on. Now, this had taken place in Europe also, all right? And in a lot of European countries, they've passed laws against this sort of stuff. Why haven't they been able to do it here in the United States? Because it's widely acceptable within the United States, within the United States society, American society, and those at the top, okay?